Hello and welcome to our presentation on the story of Yorkshire Dama cheese and Razan al Sus. Just before we dive into our storyboard, we'd first like to discuss a bit about how we came about our ideas and the structure of our assignment. So to begin, we all individually took some time to research the story and the brand by reading articles and watching the supplied interviews, each drafting a timeline of events. Once we had a clear sequence of events, we could break them down into segments, such as beginnings, a new life, and the process, for example, as seen here in our timeline. We arranged our scenes around these headings. We decided that Razan would act as the narrator for the campaign, as according to Olilia, the more human a brand is in its marketing efforts, the better the audience is likely to connect with it, and states that using first-person narration is a way to achieve this, as personal pronouns create intimacy and authenticity. In scene 1, the opening shot shows Razan and her family sitting around the dining table in their Syrian home, candidly enjoying each other's company while eating and talking, with sentimental music playing in the background. The camera angle starts up close to the table, capturing hand gestures of engaging in conversation, and pans out to capture the entire table to include the whole setting. This scene represents the calm before the storm, with the main character, Razan, describing how much it means to her to eat together with her family, however hints at a complication further along by stating that this routine was jeopardized in some way.
Scene 2 starts with the camera focusing on Razan's husband, who is working at his office desk peacefully. The camera pans out of the window and then descends the building until it focuses on a van parked outside the office. The van is alone and surrounded by police wearing bomb squad vests. There is a faint beeping in the background and hushed silence. As the officer opens the door, the camera fades to black and the Arabic word for bomb comes up on the screen along with the translation. After scene 2 ends, there is a pause and then we pan to a plane landing on a wet runway for a moment. Soft melancholic music plays in the background and we fade into the next scene where Razan, her husband and 3 children are standing in the middle of the airport arrivals. Keynote here is their lack of luggage and the crowd is posed in a way around a circle of the family to highlight their sense of isolation in arriving at the UK.
We now move to scene 4. The scene starts with Razan and her family in a small and messy flat, with nothing really other than some clothes on the floor. The family looked lost and had no idea what to do to make money. Camera angle then shift and focus onto the Yorkshire milk on the bedside table, with the light got switched on in the room. Shows that the Yorkshire milk gave Razan the idea of starting a cheese-making business in order to support the family. For scene 5, we start with a shot of Razan standing in the middle of a messy kitchen with not much food, but only milk and cheese. Here we design the kitchen to be in dark tones, with the contrast of milk and cheese in bright colors, which represent the hope and future of this family. Also, note the cookbooks on the floor, which indicates that she learned the cheese-making process herself by reading those books. Camera angles change over the chaos in the kitchen and the stains on the wall to show the effort she put in and the long journey she went through during those times.
Now we move on to scene 6, where the camera focuses on Razan alone in the living room late at night after she put the kids to bed. She is losing sleep due to extreme stress and overthinking. Although she is satisfied that she finally perfected the formula for her product, she is still concerned with how she will gain exposure for her brand due to having no friends or connections in the UK. She is also very concerned about the potential welfare of her family if her venture turns out to be a failure. Razan's thought bubbles and ideas appear around her as she plans to take her brand to a respectable level. The camera then zooms in on her face, appearing pensive and deep in thought. The scene slowly fades, suggesting she has finally fallen asleep. With Scene 7, we now present Razan at her very first trade show in 2014. We highlight the emotions on her face, mainly showing signs of anxiousness, with suspenseful music utilised to really gauge with the audience. We emphasise how much this trade show means to her and a potential brand, especially seeing as she invested a lot of time and money into this. Over the course of a scene, the suspenseful music fades and then is preceded by joyous music transitioning into the scene as we see more people flocking to see Razan's product on display. The crowd are taken aback by her cheese and we see Razan smiling and then breaking the fourth wall, signalling this landmark to be the birth of Yorkshire Dama cheese.
So now to scene 8 and branding. This scene begins with Razan sitting with the designers where she attempts to demonstrate her ideas. The camera shots and angles frequently change in this scene, jumping from her written ideas and drawings in her notepad to the design examples on the laptop screen and visual discussions. She is depicting the connection between Yorkshire and Syria, the use of locally sourced cow's milk, the psychology behind the use of fonts, her colour choice based on the blue seas of the Mediterranean, and her concluding brand name of squeaky cheese. Razan and the designers are seen pointing and discussing with powerful facial expressions and hand movements, displayed in slightly slow motion at times. The end scene cuts to an industrial printer printing the conclusive labels with a clear and final shot of the label on the product.
The first shot of Scene 8 is nearly identical to Scene 1. Once again, Razan and her family are together around the dining table, eating, smiling and talking, with the same sentimental music playing. However, this time they're in their new home in the UK, which is evident due to the ornaments displayed on the shelf. In this shot, the finalised Dama cheese product can also be seen on the table. The camera then shifts and focuses on the shelf, which displays the success of Dama cheese with multiple awards lined up. The camera moves to the TV, which is playing Razan's interview with Kate Blanchett. The final shot zooms out and focuses once again on the whole family sitting around the table. The scene displays two significant developments: finding peace in their new life and the success of Dama cheese.
Thank you, Greta. And now we will move on to our final scene and call to action. Just to give some background on our reasoning behind our call to action, we take reference from a Harvard Business Review article written by John Coleman. In this article, we observe Kickstarter, the American Public Benefit Corporation, and how they've had an effective idea of inviting people to join its team. The story starts by having its founder tell the company's story, followed by their website, which introduces photographs and short summaries of each and every company employee. Lastly, the narrative completes its call to action with a careers page asking, "Love Kickstarter? You'll fit right in." These narratives are most effective when authentic and build to a common story and values, ultimately building up to the request to the person reading, watching or listening to join in. When discussing the interview with Razan as a team, we noticed how Razan was proud and happy to be able to employ a small group and help them provide for their families. Following this, we recognise that the company hasn't been utilising digital marketing whatsoever. We chose to direct the narrative to advertise the brand story emotionally and attractively, leading to a call out to digital marketers or students with the opportunity of 2 paid internships. We hoped that this campaign would reach many universities countrywide, producing a vast response and culminating with an incredibly high standard of applicants. So the final scene opens with shots of the factory. We see the employees showcasing the hard work and different techniques used to make the cheese, and also the packaging and distribution side of things. We proceed to portrait shots of smiling employees, noting the name, job title and nationality, suggesting to the viewer the company's values and family nature. The scene ends with the employees grouped together, roaring collectively, "Join the team." Or, alternatively, each individually holding a card with "Join the team" handwritten on them, with the last shot of a smiling Razan emphasizing the "Join the team" as we fade to black with the application details displayed. Thank you for your time.